You know what?
Imagine an era where simply turning on the TV at night would instantly captivate you with catchy theme tunes that crept into your dreams, where simple moral lessons resonated like universal truths, and characters made you yearn to slip into a shiny leather jacket despite never having touched a motorcycle handlebar. That was Happy Days, a series originally intended as a single episode in an anthology show, but exploded into the monumental sitcom phenomenon of the 70s and 80s. Yet, behind the dazzling veneer of music, lively sock-hop dances, and endless catchphrases, lies a trove of shocking secrets hard to believe. From Ron Howard dodging the military draft, characters vanishing without explanation, to jaw-dropping script twists like time travel and even a talking dog. In this video, we'll dig deep into 20 bizarre, unique, and completely true facts about Happy Days, the show that turned Milwaukee into an icon of cool and transformed a simple 1950s set sitcom into a shining gem in the history of pop culture. 1. Ron Howard took the role of Richie not for a passion for acting, but to dodge the draft. Do you admire Ron Howard and love Richie Cunningham, the wholesome boy in Happy Days? Few know that the reason he took the role was far from what audiences imagined. Even as a teenager, Howard dreamed of becoming a director and had even been accepted into the University of Southern California, USC, for film studies. He wasn't keen on continuing acting despite fame from playing Opie in The Andy Griffith Show. Howard's initial plan was simple: act long enough to pay tuition, then fully pursue a career behind the camera. But an unexpected event occurred. That year, Howard was in a low draft number range, making it almost certain he'd be called to serve in Vietnam. In that context, the opportunity for Happy Days arose. By joining the sitcom, he earned income to cover school expenses and became the primary breadwinner for a crew of over 30 people, a condition that exempted him from the draft. The irony is that Happy Days became one of the most popular shows of the decade. Howard stayed longer than planned, but diligently took notes on filming techniques, learning the art of directing right on set. Later, those experiences launched him to direct Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and many classic films. Richie Cunningham, a role meant as a stopgap, ultimately paved the way for Ron Howard to become one of Hollywood's most respected directors. And as the sitcom became irresistible, that was also when countless knockoff versions emerged, too, so popular that it spawned many spin-off shows. The appeal of Happy Days was so immense that it became the cradle, giving birth to a series of famous spin-off shows. Among them are Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and Joni Loves Catchy, works that quickly carved out their own places and attracted massive audiences. It didn't stop there. Supporting characters who first appeared in Happy Days also became inspiration for other series like Out of the Blue or Blansky's Beauties. However, Out of the Blue ran into trouble due to its airing schedule. The show premiered before its main character debuted in the Happy Days episode Catchy Sells His Soul, making the narrative connection messy. The reach of Happy Days also paved the way for animated versions. Audiences once witnessed the appearance of the Fonz and the Happy Days gang, Laverne and Shirley, in the Army, later renamed Laverne and Shirley with special guest star the Fonz, or even an animated version of Mork and Mindy. Each animated series was based on the time the characters first appeared in the original. Even more, there was once a plan to produce a separate spin-off for Leather Tuscadero, the character played by Susie Quattro. However, the singer-actress refused, and the project remained on paper forever. And then, just as Richie had become a familiar face, the sitcom was dragged into remakes. Even its name wasn't spared. 3. ABC once considered renaming the show Fonzie's Happy Days. Fonzie's appeal quickly spiraled out of control. After just a few seasons, the leather-jacketed character became the centerpiece, with audiences eagerly awaiting each finger snap and smirk. Because of this, ABC executives considered a bold decision, renaming the entire series Fonzie's Happy Days. making Fonzie the main brand. But this idea immediately faced fierce opposition. Gary Marshall, the show's creator, insisted it would destroy the original spirit. Ron Howard bluntly declared he would leave the show if the name Happy Days was dropped. Facing that wave of resistance, ABC was forced to back down. However, in reality, from the middle of the series, Happy Days' spotlight was almost entirely on Fonzie. And the behind-the-scenes secrets didn't stop there. 4. Fonzie's legendary love interest vanished after a few episodes, for an unexpected reason. I don't know if you're like me, but when watching Happy Days, I was really impressed with Pinky Tuscadero. She was introduced as Fonzie's true love, embodying a rebellious, strong, and energetic image. She quickly caught viewers' attention, and everyone thought she'd be a long-term character. But just a few episodes later, Pinky vanished completely, and the reason lies behind the scenes. Roz Kelly, the actress who played Pinky, had a tough background, accustomed to a gritty showbiz environment, while the Happy Days cast, especially Henry Winkler, came from gentler, more refined backgrounds. The difference in personality and lifestyle made it hard for her to fit in. Some accounts say Roz had heated arguments with colleagues on set, even clashing loudly with the crew over her refusal to follow the tight shooting schedule. The conflicts grew, from behaviour to work attitude, becoming irreconcilable. The set atmosphere became so tense that producers had to decide: write Pinky out of the script as soon as possible. A character heavily promoted as Fonzie's partner ultimately disappeared without a trace. And after all that, Happy Days also once stood on the brink of collapse, until an unexpected decision pulled the entire show back from the dead. 5. Just one small change saved Happy Days from being cancelled forever. You might not expect that Happy Days, the sitcom that topped America, nearly got axed after just its first 2 seasons. At the time, the show was filmed with a single camera, with canned laughter added in post-production. The disjointed, forced atmosphere caused ratings to plummet, and audiences started turning away. ABC executives began considering cancelling the show. In that moment of deadlock, the crew made a seemingly small decision: overhaul the entire filming method. From season 3, Happy Days invited live audiences to the set, turning the sitcom into a vibrant stage. And the moment Fonzie stepped out and snapped his fingers once, the entire room erupted in cheers. This direct interaction infused energy back into the cast, making every scene natural and engaging. And it was exactly from there that Henry Winkler, standing at the centre of every storm, faced a seemingly impossible challenge right during his audition. 6. Henry Winkler couldn't read the script during his audition. When you think of Fonzie, audiences only remember a cool icon, leather jacket, motorcycle, and a finger snap that electrified the room. But right from the audition, Henry Winkler faced a massive obstacle no one expected. At 31, he discovered he had dyslexia, making reading a real struggle. And when he held Fonzie's script in his hands, he couldn't read 6 lines of dialogue fluently. In the tense atmosphere of the casting room, many thought Winkler would give up. But instead of bowing his head in apology, he decided to take a risk. Henry set the script aside, stepping straight into the character with confidence, gestures, and charisma. He didn't recite lines. He lived as Fonzie, cool eyes, a challenging smirk, even improvising a few spontaneous moves. The entire room froze, as if witnessing the real Fonzie step out of. That spontaneous moment changed everything. Henry Winkler not only landed the role, but opened a television icon that would go down in history. But after that spotlight, a personal tragedy nearly shattered the crew. 7. A real-life tragedy almost led Potsy to quit the show. Anson Williams, who played the gentle Potsy, faced the biggest shock of his life during Happy Days. He lost a very close loved one. The sudden grief left Anson devastated, unable to face the camera, and he even considered leaving the show for good. Surprisingly, the crew didn't let him face the loss alone. From the cast to the production team, everyone paused the shooting schedule, setting aside work to stand by Anson. They comforted and supported him, turning the set into a pillar of strength during his darkest days. That warmth kept Anson Williams on board, allowing Potsy to continue with audiences for many seasons. For Anson, Happy Days was no longer just a sitcom, but a true family. But have you ever thought a jacket could be deemed dangerous and nearly banned forever? 8. Fonzie's leather jacket was once considered dangerous and nearly didn't appear. Initially, ABC outright banned Fonzie from wearing a leather jacket. The reason was that it was associated with the image of street hoodlums, unfit for a family show aired in prime time. So, in the first episodes, Henry Winkler had to wear a windbreaker, creating a much tamer Fonzie than imagined. Gary Marshall, Happy Days creator, devised a clever workaround. Fonzie could wear the leather jacket only when near his motorcycle, as if it were a traffic safety rule. This loophole allowed the jacket to gradually return, and as Fonzie became a cultural phenomenon, ABC had no reason to ban it anymore. From an item deemed dangerous, the leather jacket entered television history and is now proudly displayed in the Smithsonian Museum. But Fonzie's legacy wasn't just in museums. It lived in real life through a bronze statue that fiercely divided Milwaukee. 9. The bronze Fonzie statue divided an entire city. In 2008, Milwaukee, the setting of Happy Days, decided to erect the bronze Fonz statue by the Riverwalk. For fans, it was a fitting tribute to a cultural icon tied to the city. But not everyone was thrilled. Some local artists reacted strongly. They argued the Fonzie statue lowered Milwaukee's artistic value, turning the city into a joke. One gallery owner even called it a stupid Fonzie sculpture and vowed to leave Milwaukee if it was built. The debate divided the city. Fans were excited. The art community was outraged. In the end, the bronze Fonz stood proudly by the river. And ironically, despite the criticism, it quickly became the city's most popular check-in spot. But not every Happy Days scandal ended in laughter. Once, the entire cast took CBS to court to demand justice. 10. When the Happy Days cast collectively sued CBS. If you thought Happy Days was all laughs, you're mistaken. In 2011, the show's core cast, Anson Williams, Donnie Most, Erin Moran, Marion Ross, and Tom Bosley's wife, shocked fans by collectively suing CBS Paramount. The reason wasn't scripts or roles, but the massive profits from merchandise, especially Happy Days slot machines, which they claimed they never received a share of. The group demanded $10 million in compensation, making the lawsuit a media focal point. US press dubbed it the Cunningham Family Rebellion, as it exposed a dark side contrary to the show's warm, cohesive image. But after months of litigation, the outcome disappointed everyone. Each received only about $65,000, far less than expected. And at that moment, Happy Days created a scandal that birthed a global phrase. 11. The moment that coined a globally famous phrase, "jump the shark." In Season 5, the writers pushed Fonzie into an unthinkable scenario, wearing his leather jacket and shoes, water skiing, and jumping over a giant shark. The scene was elaborately staged, but upon airing, millions of viewers found it absurdly over the top. For them, Happy Days had lost its edge, clinging to attention with senseless shock tactics. From that episode, the phrase, "jump the shark," was born, becoming a common term for when a show, brand, or career passes its peak and starts declining. Ironically, the scene so heavily criticised made Happy Days immortal in pop culture, as no other show left such a powerful linguistic mark. But not every bizarre Happy Days plot was explained by a phrase. A key Cunningham family member vanished completely, as if they never existed. 12. Richie's mysterious older brother, gone without explanation. The Cunningham family in Happy Days was portrayed as the ideal American family. Model parents, lovable Richie and Joni. But in the first 2 seasons, they had an eldest son named Chuck Cunningham. He appeared in a few episodes, playing Richie's older brother, often holding a basketball. But after season 2, Chuck vanished entirely. No explanation, no farewell scene. And later, episodes even had Richie's parents saying they only had 2 kids. Erasing a core family member from the show's timeline sparked buzz. Fans speculated, did the actor quit, or did the writers ignore him for lack of appeal? Whatever the reason, Chuck became a TV phenomenon. Chuck Cunningham syndrome, a term for characters erased from series without mention. And while one mysterious character was erased, Fonzie, the central figure, hid a fear no one expected. 13. TV's coolest guy had an unexpected fear. Did you admire Fonzie snapping his fingers, wearing his leather jacket, and riding a motorcycle with epic coolness on screen? For millions of American viewers, he was the 70s cool icon. But few know Henry Winkler, who played Fonzie, had a fear that completely contradicted this. He was terrified of motorcycles. From the early episodes, Winkler barely dared to ride a real bike. The iconic scenes audiences remember were mostly staged with tricks. The motorcycle was fixed in place, the camera panned to create motion, or a stuntman was used. The one time Winkler tried riding on set, he nearly crashed and immediately refused to try again. Yet clever staging made Fonzie an immortal icon, even though Henry Winkler never truly mastered the bike. And because of that massive appeal, ABC considered changing the show's entire name, a decision that nearly shook Happy Days backstage. And as Fonzie dominated the screen, a strange guest character appeared, paving the way for one of Hollywood's biggest superstars. 14. A bizarre guest role turned Robin Williams into a superstar. The idea for the alien character Mork came from Gary Marshall's young son, a Star Wars fan who begged his dad to add an alien element to the family sitcom. Initially, the casting call went to many famous comedians, but they all declined, finding the role too odd. When Robin Williams, then an unknown street performer, walked into the audition, no one expected much. But instead of sitting in a chair like other candidates, Williams flipped upside down and sat on his head. The room went silent for a few seconds, then burst into laughter. That weirdness and spontaneity got him cast as Mork instantly. The episode with Robin Williams became a hit, prompting ABC to create the spin-off Mork and Mindy, turning him from a nobody to an international star. And he wasn't the only star to pass through Happy Days. Even Tom Hanks appeared, in a role no one expected. 15. Tom Hanks appeared in Happy Days, but in a very unusual role. Before becoming a Hollywood A-lister, Tom Hanks had a small but odd role in Happy Days. In 1982, he played Dwayne Twitchell, a karate expert with a comical grudge. As a kid, Fonzie pushed him off a swing. Years later, Dwayne returns, determined to get revenge with martial arts. The showdown was staged dramatically, but instead of fighting back, Fonzie stayed calm, stood firm, and used his signature coolness to defuse the challenge. The challenger lost not from exhaustion, but from losing momentum. Though just a guest role, it left a mark for Tom Hanks. More importantly, this appearance caught Ron Howard's eye, who was starting his directing career, leading to Hanks' starring role in Splash, 1984, a major turning point in his illustrious career. And interestingly, it wasn't just Tom Hanks who nearly tied his fate to Fonzie. Another pop music superstar came closer than anyone to the role. 16. A famous pop star almost became Fonzie. During Happy Days casting, Mickey Dolenz, a member of the famous band The Monkees, was a top contender for Fonzie. With striking looks, stage charisma, and a big name, Mickey seemed a shoo-in for the series' cool face. But an unexpected obstacle arose. He was 6'0" tall, while Ron Howard, Richie Cunningham, was about 5'9". The height difference worried producers that Richie, meant to be the central character, would be overshadowed by a towering Fonzie. After much deliberation, Dolenz was cut from the list. The role went to Henry Winkler, who stood at 5'6", and that physical difference created the perfect Fonzie, compact but with overpowering charisma, convincing audiences that cool came from attitude, not height. What do you think if the role had gone to Mickey Dolenz? But even with a perfect Fonzie, Happy Days faced cancellation, all because the early seasons were too bland. 17. A familiar actor left the show to try his luck with 2 spin-offs and failed. Pat Morita, who played Arnold, the cheerful diner owner, was a familiar face on Happy Days. But in the late 70s, he left to pursue 2 sitcoms, Mr. T and Tina and Blansky's Beauties. Both were highly anticipated but flopped, cancelled after just a few episodes. Morita returned to Happy Days to warm audience reception, but his career didn't stop there. In 1984, he skyrocketed globally as Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid, earning an Oscar nomination. And while Morita's career soared, Happy Days' most iconic setting was thousands of miles from Milwaukee. 18. The Cunningham family's famous house wasn't in Milwaukee. Happy Days is set in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but the Cunningham family home was in Los Angeles. The real address is 565 N Cahuenga Boulevard, just minutes from Hollywood. Interestingly, the house still retains much of its on-screen appearance, becoming a pilgrimage site for nostalgic fans. Many visitors stop to take photos at the door, though the surrounding neighborhood is entirely ordinary. And right at the Hollywood studio, Henry Winkler performed one of his career's boldest stunts. 19. Fonzie performed one of television's most famous stunts himself. In the controversial Jump the Shark episode, Henry Winkler actually water-skied himself, though he didn't directly jump over a shark. To reduce danger, he wore a special, lighter leather jacket than the original. That moment became one of the most remembered stunts in US television history. Though many viewers found the scene absurd, Winkler was proud of performing it without fully relying on a stunt double. But Happy Days didn't stop at daring jumps. Fonzie's success led to a bizarre animated spin-off that took the character beyond viewers' imaginations. 20. A strange animated spin-off sent Fonzie time-travelling with a robot dog. In 1980, ABC launched an animated spin-off called The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang. The premise sounds like a joke. Fonzie, Richie, and Ralph get swept into time travel adventures, joined by a girl from the future and a robot dog named Mr. Cool. The animated series ran for 2 seasons, from 1980 to 1982. For older fans, it was a puzzling idea. But for kids, it was a wildly engaging, colourful show full of imagination. Today, many remember this spin-off as a bizarre twist in Happy Days' legacy, proof that Fonzie's appeal was so immense it could send him through time, even into an animated universe. Happy Days isn't just a sitcom, but a cultural icon that left its mark for over half a century. Its behind-the-scenes stories and legendary characters made it an unforgettable memory for audiences. If you found these facts fascinating, hit like and share to spread them to other fans. And don't forget to subscribe to catch more exciting behind-the-scenes secrets coming up.